Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, September 8th. So let's take a look at the overall market first. Yesterday was, I think, the first time in a while that we've seen some actual volatility, and we may see a little bit more today because, like we talked about, we've been kind of channeling for a while, at least last week, and things has been choppy, right? We talked about we are below the resistance around the 455s, 454s around SPY, and then the bottom end, the channeling we have about 451, 450s bottom channel. We've been kind of chopping around this range. And the only time where we'll see big breakout on the overall market is above this resistance. And if we break down the bottom end of the channel, then we'll see some downside volatility. And that will be the same for individual stocks. But we're kind of looking at it at a broader scale. And so you can see, oops, my bad, sorry. So yesterday we kind of bounced off these levels for a while, and today we have a gap down, and so far we are holding below that level. The 451s, we're holding beneath it. We tested prior to this close for a while, but now we're selling off just a little bit. We'll see if we get actual follow through to the downside today, and if we do, we're going to test the 449s at least, and potentially even 448. You have to also realize that don't panic if that happens. We've been kind of grinding up to new all-time highs every couple of days. It's healthy for a market to pull back some. So that's kind of what I'm expecting today to happen for the large caps. If you look at the large cap scanners, there's literally not a lot of stocks gapping up. So that's why today on the watch list, and mostly the meme stocks and the small cap stocks. I have a couple of large caps on the side watch, but if we keep on chopping, or if we actually sell off with the overall market today, then we might see some volatility and some red in the market. With QQQs, we are closer to the top end resistance, but we are still channeling. If you Qs, we are above the bottom end of the channel. We are holding the bottom end of the channel, but we are approaching the top side resistance around the 382s. So for the tech stocks, we are still kind of in a chop range. So I'm gonna keep them on watch, the Qs and SPYs on watch on the side. But for the stocks that we are mostly watching, at least I'm mostly watching, they're probably not gonna follow the market. So the stocks we're watching are, the first one, BBIG. This is a very, very impressive move, I gotta say. When this thing sold off from 10s down to 5 and 6s, I honestly thought it was done, and I was about to take it off the watch list, and this thing just came back. This is last week, went all the way to near all-time highs. If you look at a daily chart, all-time highs was around 1160. So basically went to all-time highs, and then it sold off. So if you see a rejection candle like this around all-time highs, usually that's another signal that the stock sold off more, and it did for a little bit to 8, and then and then this time it held a higher low on the daily. So I think at this point it's a very, very crowded stock with both the longs and the shorts. And today you can see yesterday started rallying from $8 to close of 960s, and today we have a huge gap up around 1150s and pulled back to 1020s, and now we're testing the pre-market highs, which is, if you look at 1120s all the way up here, I think at this point it's trading so close to all-time highs. I think today might not be a day to short it. I know there's always a lot of people who want to short the stock, but I think you should expect it to test the all-time highs at this rate, which is $12. $11.90 to $12, that range. And interestingly, it's not a low float stock, but it definitely trades like one. I have the float of 52 million shares float. So but in the past it has halted up and down before. So this is gonna be, I expect this one to be very, very volatile. So that being said, so that's a long thesis, right? I don't like to short stocks. It's pretty much near all-time highs. So I think you have a huge channel. So you don't want to be too biased on either side because both sides could make money. $12, that's a prior all-time highs resistance. Judging from the way it traded last time it tested all-time highs, I think today we can test that, which is, I mean, it's already only 80 cents away. But I don't know if it's continuous holding $12, then that's like the real key level for the stock to be an absolutely long. There should be no reason to short the stock if the stock is beyond $12. So that's a key for me to watch. And also I can't short the stock anyways because it's restricted at Cobra. They have it at center point. There wasn't a lot left. So just FYI, but a lot of times when the shorts are restricted, that also means you won't get as much squeeze power as before. It wasn't restricted all the prior few days. And now that it's restricted and you're making the pre-market run to $12, then I think you could really see both sides in play. So $12, that's going to be the key resistance. And you have this $10, call it $10, $10.20, the key support. So that's a huge channel, pretty much almost $2 channel. So, there's going to be range on the stock. So for the longs, you can either use the key level around $10. So if it keeps on holding and if you continue the uptrend, right, pre-market double bottom. So if it pulls back from 11.12, holds at 10.50s, as long as it's above this $10.20, $10 mark, then it's still bullish. But up here, you have to know that if, let's say it approaches 11.70s at the open, right? You have to know that there's a resistance at 12. So that would be the scenario where I'd rather wait for it to break 12 and hold $12 to go long. So you have to gauge your risk reward, having the channel in mind, right? Resistance at 12, support at 10. Do you want to be that person buying at 11.70? Probably not. But if it's closer to 10.50, 10.70, then the risk probably will be much more worth it, especially if the stock is holding the uptrend. But I think the only thing concerning for the longs is that the shorts are restricted. So you could only squeeze the existing shorts. You can't really, you won't have the new short piling up is what I'm saying. Okay, so that will be the thesis for the long side, right? If they hold these two levels, for the shorts, let's say if you are really interested in shorting the stock, if the stock breaks through all-time highs and then slam down beneath $12, then that will be a key resistance to use. But at this rate, knowing how it traded this day, usually they like to squeeze it past all the resistance we have, right? So this thing has a scenario of volatility holds on the way up, squeeze past the 12s, let's say 13s. If you see a slam back down to 12s, then that would be a good area to use as your short thesis and guide. Or you can wait for the stock to break below $10. And I think that would be the safer short, even though it looks like you're missing the $2 downside as well. Or you can just wait for tomorrow, the first red day. Today is probably going to be a green day for BBIG. If you think about it, all the shorts in the prior days are now underwater. 11.20s or all the way up here. So I think it still has a higher chance of holding the level and have a green day. But again, keep that $12 in mind, resistance. If we break through $12, and that's when it will be definitely a long, and then you have more upside. If you draw the Fibonacci extensions, which we can just do right now, we can find out the upside for the stock. Above the $12 all-time highs, come on. Then roughly you have 13, 15s, 30, 90s, 14s. That's only if we get above $12. The other thing is, this is public knowledge by now. BBIG has a lot of active, was it S1 or S3? I forgot. I guess shelf. Let me see. I have it. Yeah, a mixed shelf. No, S1 mixed shelf. But this has been public knowledge for weeks. So they have they could sell a lot of shares. So they could do remaining shares. I'm looking at shares offered, remaining value. Okay, the remaining, 0. Okay, they only have one left. Wow. Okay. Yeah, actually the remaining shares, 0, remaining value. Okay. Yeah, so they still have some shares left they could sell, but that's been public knowledge and probably the reason a lot of shorts are swinging the stock. But just know that there's potential dilution, but that's been the case since day one over here. Just know that fact, but don't use that fact as the reason to short the stock, is what I'm saying. A lot of shorts get in complacent and think, oh, if a stock has active S1 or S3, then I should just short it. It will go down eventually. Yeah, but what if it goes to 15 first, right? So just keep that in mind. Don't short the stock because there's a potential offering. Everyone else is doing that. Okay, that's only one stock. Wow, we should really move on. BBIG, so that's the first stock I'm watching. Next one, no, let's talk about GANX. Ganks, which is okay. So this stock, positive top line data on one of the drugs for Parkinson's disease. But for mostly this stock is easy to borrow, low float stock, 7.7 million shares float. Sketchy daily chart, low float, easy to borrow. So that's a thing you gotta be aware of. A 1080 is $11 is going to be a key level. This is already kind of selling off pre-market. I'm kind of more bearish on the stock, thinking that it's going to pop to 1150s, reject and sell off. The news is kind of, it's not really significant, but knowing that it's low float, and yeah, knowing that it's low float, you might get some big range pops and fades. If it holds at $11, then I'm not interested in a short. But so far, it's been a huge downtrend from pre-market. And technically, this is a very low volume bag holder chart as well. It's been selling off from 17 down to $8 where it came from prior day. Volume on the average on the daily is really low. But today, pre-market, you're trading some decent volume around 1.5, which is above average. But nonetheless, it's still below the key level, and I'm still more short bias unless it gets over $11, and then we can actually see some volume to test 12 and 13s. Okay, GANX. Okay, next one is Clove. Not a lot of follow through on these stocks, on the meme stocks. Like with both AMC and Clove, they kind of just gap down. Seems like the excitement is all in BBIG. So I got a lot of DMs from people asking if Clove is a good overnight long, and I said I didn't like it just because. Sure, from individual candle and the way it traded, it seems like it could gap up. It seems like it, but I just don't like how much resistance this thing has to the upside. Above yesterday's highs, 1110, this thing has resistance like every 50 cents, pretty much, because it's been a long-term downtrending chart since this $25 in June. A lot of bag holders, all the retails are bagged. In this one. So that's the reason I didn't like the overnight long. It could have worked, but I just don't like the probability of that. And this thing was already red. So hopefully this thing pops to at least 1080s or $11. That's a key level. I'm more short bias on the stock. So this stock you have to keep in mind is a stock that when it's red, it could sell off with no bounces. So that's the reason I'm interested in the short. It's already kind of a little bit too far from my levels. But even if you don't short the stock, you can just not long it to protect your account. Because the reason is because I think I tried to bounce the stock. I forgot if it's this day or this day. And this just has very, very, a lot of pressure every time it tries to bounce. So don't try bouncing the stock. It's not a stock I would do like the morning dip buy that I know a lot of traders here like to do. And Clove locates yesterday were free for me. So yesterday was definitely easy to borrow. I think it is still today, but below the key level, please don't own the stock unless, it could work, but I don't recommend it. Anyways, previous days closed 1080s is now red on the day. This thing has downside to 1020s and 960s. Ideally, it pops to at least like 1080s is the minimum, I think, to get scale into the short. Yeah, and I mean, it's a meme stock. Yesterday, there wasn't any news on the stock. I think it's still easy to borrow. I mean, it's easy to borrow. This might trigger SSR at some point. 1080 times 0.9 is, somebody do the math. 970. SSR is all the way down here. Oh, that's pretty much a price target for the shorts. Yeah, so keep that in mind. I'm more shorts bias on this, below, especially below prior day's close and below $11. AMC. So not a lot of follow through with the, yesterday we closed very strong, but today we have a small gap down. Could be because with the market, we have seen that, you know, sometimes the market pulls down AMC, but not always. So key level is still gonna be yesterday's resistance at $48. It's not gonna be a long until we can really go red to green, but technically, if this is a big if, okay, if AMC opens up, you know, chopping around the 47s, maybe in the channel between 46.50s and 47s, if it does that for an extended amount of time, and let's say, you know, market opens 9:30, and let's say by 10:30, this thing does a red to green. AMC, when it does a red to green move, usually, especially a second test during midday, that's usually the times it could squeeze. And have a, oh my God, that's a lot of lines. Sorry, I don't mean to confuse you. That's usually when it could have a strong green day after trapping and consolidation for the first hour of the day. But if this thing does try to retest red to green, let's say like the first 20 minutes of the open, not saying that's going to happen today, but if it does, then a lot of times I would expect the first test to fail. Did I get signed out of Zoom? Somebody. I'm still here, right? I have a pop-up. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking at AMC. This is just have your key level in mind. 48, bottom and support, you have like the 46s and 45s. But unless this thing gets over and consolidates 48 midday, then I would expect somewhat chopping AMC or perhaps even a red day. And let's say if you're interested in the short, the morning pop to 48 will be good short entries. Morning pop, right? Meaning the first push out of the open, not the second or third one during midday. And downside, you have 46 if that does sell off more, and 45s. So key level again, 48. Keep that in mind. Then upside, if we get above the 48s, that's say midday, upside you can actually go to 49, 50s, and then potentially more upside, but let's say $50. That's going to be a psychological mark for a lot of the traders. Okay, so we talked about GANX, BBIG, AMC, and Clove. Let's talk about some of the side watches now.